Senator Hillary Clinton believes the sky's the limit for her campaign, and she's proving it today. She took a whirlwind helicopter tour of Iowa, but it hasn't been a cakewalk lately. In fact, poll numbers are down 3 points in Iowa since last month, while fellow Democrat Barack Obama's numbers are up by 8. Now, in New Hampshire, she's down 5 points since November, and Obama's numbers are once again up by 8 in that state. Senator Clinton joins us live this morning from Des Moines. Great to have you with us, Senator.
Well, it's great to be here. I'm in the Drake Diner in Des Moines. We're having a great time this early morning.
Good place to get some steak and eggs for your rounds on national television this morning.
Right. you know, my 99 county blitz. We got to be reinforced to make it.
Well, you said you're pumped up after receiving the endorsement. It's the big one in that state from the Des Moines Register. What happens if that doesn't translate into a win in Iowa?
Well, I'm pumped up and I'm very excited because the editorial board of the Des Moines Register put all of the candidates through a very grueling process, asking a lot of tough questions, evaluating us, doing independent research. And their editorial makes the case for my candidacy, that I'm ready to lead. I have got a proven track record of making positive change in people's lives. And that's what I'm seeing reflected as I travel around Iowa, New Hampshire, and elsewhere in the country. There's a lot of excitement and energy in my campaign, and I'm very confident that we're going to do well. But, obviously, this is a very abbreviated, intense process. It starts on January 3rd in the Iowa caucuses, and I guess it ends sometime late on February 5th after California on the West Coast vote. So I'm in it for this entire month, and I am very confident and optimistic about the outcome.
Now, you did pick up that big endorsement, as we said, from the Des Moines Register. At the same time, though, the Boston Globe endorsed Senator Obama, saying about you, in fact, her approach is needlessly defensive, a backward glance at the bruising political battles of the 1990s. Is the Globe statement fair?
Well, I really don't know what they're talking about. The battles of the 1990s produced the best economy in decades. It took on a lot of tough issues, ending up with a balanced budget and a surplus, reformed welfare, made a lot of positive change. Actually, here in Iowa, the typical Iowa family had an increase of $7,000 in their income during the 90s. Now the average American family is down $1,000. Some fights are worth taking on. And, when everybody talks about change, like we do in the campaign on the Democratic side, some people think you bring change by demanding it, and some people think you bring change by hoping for it. I think you bring change by working hard. And sometimes that means finding common ground, and sometimes that means standing your ground. And I feel very good about how people are looking at my campaign, because they know that we need a president day one to start making these changes.
One more question about the polls, and then we'll get on to some of the issues. But you had 3 months ago, you had about a 20-point lead, I think, over Barack Obama in New Hampshire. Now, according to some of our polling, you're virtually tied. What happened in that state?
I just don't pay attention to those snapshots. I know the press does, and I guess that's a tool that you try to use, but that's not how I judge how we're doing. I judge how we're doing by the level of supporters and volunteers we have, by the people who say that they're going to caucus or vote for me. I've done this a very long time, and I never believe that any election is at all predictable, let alone inevitable. So I feel very good about where I am, how my campaign is. I'm very confident about my team in Iowa, New Hampshire, and elsewhere. And I think that we're going to do just fine when people actually start expressing their opinions.
One of the big political buzz topics this morning is that Senator Joe Lieberman, who was your party's nominee for vice president back in 2000, is actually endorsing Senator John McCain, a Republican, for president. What's your reaction to that news?
Well, I congratulate Senator McCain. I was very pleased yesterday to be endorsed by former Senator Bob Kerrey, who most recently has served on the 9/11 Commission, trying to figure out how to keep America safe. And it was, very exciting for my campaign for him to come to Western Iowa to endorse me and put forth all the reasons why he believes that I would be the best president and the best commander-in-chief.
Yesterday, former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan said that he fears we're heading toward a recession specifically. What's the first thing that you would do as president specifically to prevent a recession if we indeed are heading that direction from happening?
Well, we need President Bush to be acting now, and this is the critical period to deal with the housing crisis, more vigorously than what they're planning to do to deal with our fiscal irresponsibility caused in large measure because of his tax cuts for the rich and a war he won't pay for. So there's a lot that should be done right now. But I think this underscores my point. During the 1990s, which I know some people would rather forget, although it was a very successful two-term Democratic administration, we took on a deficit-ridden economy. We made the tough economic decisions. I come out of that same school. We have to get our fiscal house in order. I was there seeing how it was done, part of the Clinton team that was in the White House. And when I'm president, we're going to get back to fiscal responsibility and good economic stewardship to try to navigate our country's economy through some very choppy waters.
You candidates certainly have a lot going on. You're under the glare of the spotlight and meeting with a lot of people. In fact, we saw Mitt Romney tear up on one of the other networks the other day. What makes you tear up, if anything?
Well, I'll tell you what, when I got up at 4 o'clock this morning to be on these shows, I teared up. I think it's a hard job you all have. I don't know how you do it every morning.
See, so go easy on us. We do it every single day. Senator Hillary
I do. I cut you a lot of slack.
Thanks for being with us this morning.
Nice to get a little bit of sympathy there from politicians.
And some coffee. Cheers.